everyone, welcome to the new session SQL with Python, right? Before start the session, let me introduce myself. I am Shampriti from Great Learning, and please let me know in the live chat I am audible or not. If I am audible, then please put a yes comment to the live chat for that we can start the session. In the meanwhile, let me introduce that Great Learning has come up with the idea that is Great Learning Academy, where you will get almost 80 plus free courses, and after completing your course you can claim your certificate as well. And if you want to do these courses in your mobile application, that is also possible using Great Learning app. So please let me know in the live chat that I am audible or not. If I am audible, then we will start the session within few seconds. Yes, so I can see yes, so I can, okay. Yes, yeah guys, basically in my place there is some constructions going on, that is why you will get the background noise. I am really sorry for that. Okay, right. Okay, so let's have a look at what do we have in today's agenda. So today we are going to do SQL with Python. As we all know, SQL is one of the most used database management system, and Python is one of the most used programming language. So in that case, in this agenda, we are going to cover. Okay, I'm really sorry for the disturbing noise, guys. I cannot help it with that. So right, so we are going to talk about what is database. Then we will have a look at the examples of databases we need, and then we need to go for use types of databases, right? And then we will have a look at what is SQL, basic commands in MySQL, and then I will show you how can you install Python in your system. Then we will do a demo that is going to connect SQL with Python, right? Okay. Guys, I just want a proper confirmation that is my voice audible. I know there is a background noise. If you leave that, my voice is audible or not, right? Then we will start with what is database. And in today's session, I am going to try to make the session more demo centric, right? So we will talk less about the theoretical part. We will do a demo a lot, right? So yes, so and I want this session to be more interactive as well, right? Okay, so let's go and let's have a look at what is database. So database is nothing but a container. Okay, database is nothing but a container where data can be collected systematically. Managing and manipulation of those data are easy. That simple is what is database, right? So first I will start talking about what is database, types of database, and then we will see how this started SQL, and then I will clear your doubts, right? In the in between the session when I'm actually teaching something, that time maybe I'm not gonna give you the answer, but after some after completing one topic, I will give few seconds to answer your doubts, and then we will move towards the next part of the concepts in the session, right? Is it fine with you guys? Okay, right. Now we are going to, as we have talked about what is database, you can consider this database as a as a container, right? Now if we talk about the suppose online telephone directory, right? We do have lots of online telephone directory. So in that case, suppose an online telephone directory uses a database to store their data. So what data they are going to store? They are going to store the data like the name of the person, address, phone number, and other contact details, right? So that time we need to have a database. This can be one example of database, right? Then if we take another example of database, then maybe an online library. Okay, so we know we are going most of us we use some PDF version or the e-version of the book, right? So there are lots of online libraries are there, which libraries are basically nothing but to store the data, right? To store the books, right? So in order to store the books, they need to have their own database management system. Otherwise they will not have track how many books they have, what are the types of book they have, what are the genres book they have, right? Whether the writer they have. So have a proper idea about their own library. They need to have a proper database management system. So these are the basic two example why do we need database. Now we will have a look at the types of databases we have. we have SQL, NoSQL, right, and lots of more databases also we have. And when we talk about what is SQL, right, and guys, please don't spam in the so don't spam in the live chat. This is also one of the requests to you guys. So yeah, now we are going to talk about that basically what is SQL. So how many of you have idea about SQL? If you give me a quick confirmation on that, how many of you have idea about SQL? Then we will talk about SQL. Okay, right. Vinod is saying no, basic of SQL level is 2 out of 5. Okay, for machine learning field 1, how SQL helps? If yes, it is enough to use basics to extend in machine learning field. So Vinod, if you want to become a data scientist, that time you need to have a proper idea of database management system, how to visualize data, right? So you have to have a good idea of SQL. Okay, guys, I cannot speak in Hindi, right? So I am not at all good in Hindi. So yeah, in that case, and we do have lots of session in Hindi, so you can check those out, and maybe you will get a good idea about that, right? Okay, so now let me give you an example of what is SQL and how to use SQL basically. So SQL is nothing but stands for Structured Query Language. Right, so basically this concept to use for accessing and manipulating, you can say storing the data to the database management system, right? So this is one type of a query language. Okay, now SQL became a standard of the American National Standard Institute, that is ANSI, in 1986, and of the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, in 1987. So if you ask me what is ANSI SQL, so we do have lots of softwares. We have MySQL, we have Oracle, we have other types of SQL software as well, which is actually works same like managing your data. So for all those software, do you really feel you have to learn different query language? No. So there is a called of ANSI SQL, which is basically supported by all the softwares, right? So this is basically known as ANSI SQL, right? And this is all about SQL. So let's go to MySQL workbench and let's have a look at how can you start up with MySQL. And then we will go with Python, and then we will go with connecting MySQL with Python. So as I said, the student session will be more of a practical session rather than the theoretical session, right? So first we will see how can you install MySQL. For installing MySQL, what you need to do, let me just go to my browser. Can you see over here? Here what you need to write, MySQL download, right? If you write mysql.com/downloads, you can go to their official website. Okay, after going to official website, what you need to do, you need to go to MySQL community GPL downloads, right? You need to go there. Right, so here you have to click over there, and after you click over there, you will get lots of community downloads. From there, if you want to download the workbench, you need to click to MySQL workbench, right? After you click to MySQL workbench, I am just showing you how can you install MySQL in your system. After you go for doing that, can you see here you will get lots of MSI installer. Don't go for this part, go to download page, right? After you go over here, you will get a 2 version of that, right? So if you have Windows, you can go for another Windows. If you have another select operating system, you can go for Mac and Linux, whatever you have, right? So for my case, it's Microsoft Windows, and here if you can see, I got a 427.6 M, right? This one I am going to download. So if you click on the download, your download will be started for MySQL. So this is how you can download MySQL. Now, as I have already downloaded MySQL, you can see this will be the interface for your MySQL, right? Okay, now what you need to do, suppose we will start with queries, right? What are the queries we are going to take? First, if you need to start with any database management system or database, you need to create your own database. How to do that? You need to write create database, right? Then you have to give your database name, right? So in that case, what you need to write, maybe my database name I am going to give demo live, right? And don't forget to put this semicolon over here, right? Yes, so this is how we are going to create our first database in MySQL, right? No, Garvit, it's not for 32 bits, it's also supported 64 bits. So according to your according to your system, it will automatically take that download. So this will be the procedure to go for, right? So guys, I'm really sorry for the background noise again. I cannot help it out with that, right? So here, so creating database is basically you need to write create database and database name, that is demo live. So if you look at here, you can see that create database demo live, it's already created and one row is affected, right? Now if we need to use that particular database, how to do that, right? So in that case, you need to write here use demo live, right? So if you click on if you write use demo live, what it will do, your MySQL will understand, okay, now I am going to use the database called demo live. So if you want to see how many databases you have, if you start working first, then you will have only one database. But I am working for a long with this MySQL database, so I have lots of databases in MySQL workbench. So if you want to see how many databases you have in your MySQL database workbench, what you need to do, you need to write show databases, right? And again, there is a semicolon you always need to give, otherwise you will get an error, right? Can you see I have lots of databases over here, and here, as I have mentioned, and I have created one that is demo live. It's also here. Can you see this one? This database is actually demo live. Okay, fine. So yeah, so this is how you can create your database. You can say your Bhavesh, don't spam in the live chat, guys. I cannot take all the question if you guys start spamming. So please, for the sake of the others who really want to learn, don't spam, right? Okay, so if you want to see the create database, so creating database we use to create your create your database in MySQL workbench. Then we said, hey, I have created this database, now I want to use this particular database. So in this case, demo live I want to use. Now if you want to see how many databases you have, that time you need to go for writing show databases, right? Right. So this is how we can do the basic part of database. Now if I go back to the presentation again, here I will show you some more basic commands of MySQL. Like we have insert command, right? So if you want to create a table, right, I will show you how can you create a table. So if you want to create a table, that time what you need to do, that time you need to write a command of create table. So let's go and let's create a table, and let's have a look at how can you create a table, right? So I have a database with me, if I am not wrong. Yes, fine. So let's create a table called customer. Or maybe I have over here as well, right? Okay, so okay, so I have like this. The same thing we are going to do, we will do that only. Okay, right? So here I am going to create a table called customer, right? And the customer table will have two attributes. What are the two attributes? That two attribute or the column will be name and address. If I just execute this, can you see this is running and your create table is done, right? Now if you want to insert the value to the table called customer, you need to use insert statement. But as you have created the table, if you want to check what are the table you have created in your particular database called demo live, you just need to write show right? So let me just execute that. Can you see I have only one table in my database called demo live, that is customer table, right? Okay. Now I am going to take your questions. I can see lots of doubts are there. So in that case, first now for few seconds or few minutes I will answer your question, and then we will go back to the MySQL basic commands again, right? Okay. Okay. Hi Rohan, I can see you are asking hi Rohan. I hope you are liking the session. Right. Why do the SQL commands just look the same as those for Postgres? Okay, so basically see, you cannot say like for Postgres SQLs or normal SQL, whatever we are talking about, right? These all are used for database management system. They cannot be, like this is something fully different, right? So yeah, they can be similar, they can be different, little bit different according to their syntaxes and the other factors, right? Okay. Okay, Rohan is asking, ma'am, I was telling that we can create tables also. Yes, I have shown you that you can create table as well. So Shwapnali, okay, Shwapnali is asking why need table. So basically we need table to store our data. So yeah, that's a good question. So whenever we have data, SQL take those data in a tabular format. And whenever we try to store our data in a tabular format, we need to create the table, right? So yeah, this is why we need a table in SQL. What do we have multiple table? You can have n number of table, right? And you can manipulate them using SQL. That is the main thing why we need SQL, right? In SQL you can have n number of table, you can have n number of records, and you can merge them. You can like use joins, you can use some other techniques we have in SQL. That's a little advanced part of SQL, but you can do these things. That basically the data manipulation part, right? How we connect SQL in C++ or C? For C++ and C also you need to have a driver to connect SQL. We will talk about that Nikash. Okay, so Nitish is asking that why do we need SQL in data science? So when we are talking about data, if you don't know how to manage the data, how it's gonna work, right? So in the case of data science, being a data scientist, you need to have a good idea about SQL. You need to have a good programming language, right? And also you need to have a good idea about the data visualization tools like Tableau, all those things. So yeah, so as the data science itself saying that as you are working with the data, you need to have a good idea about data management, right? I hope you got your answer. Okay, Aravind is asking, I created a normal registration form using HTML code, how to store the data into the SQL. So if you make this in HTML, you can directly fetch your data using Python. If you want to use Python in the backend, you can use it. If you want to use Java, you can use it and you can store that. Maybe we will come up with that, Arvind. A good session, we will come up with that. Okay, someone asking that can you please explain what is varchar? Yes, so varchar is a data type. Varchar can contain character. It's kind of a string, you can say, right? Varchar is basically can contain string as well as the number. So basically if you use name or address can contain number and letters both, right? So that time we use varchar, right? What is the difference between SQL and MySQL, Arshita? So SQL is a structured query language and MySQL is a software to use those query languages. You can think of it like this way, right? How can we connect database with front end and back end? So front end and back end. So basically if we talk about front end and back end, front end is nothing but your looks, right? The HTML pages we have. So if you want to fetch data from the front end to the back end, basically your programming language, you can do that using Java and Python. Maybe not in this session, we are not going to do that, but maybe we will come up with the session, Arshita. Thanks for the question again. Okay. Okay, not Arshita, Srishti. I'm so sorry for that. Please show commands for manipulation of table. Yes, I will show that. Right. What is the use of SQL again? This is a database management system, right? Nikash, I did not get your answer. Okay, got it. How many databases to be created in MySQL? Any limitation? No, there is no limitations, guys. You can create n number of database, but again you have to sure that you are using them. Otherwise, there is no point of like wasting your memory for MySQL workbench, right? So in that case, you have to think about that, right? Okay. So yeah, Nitish again. So as I have completed the MySQL basics, so that's why I had taken the questions. Now we will talk about the some advanced part of MySQL, and then we will go for doing the SQL and Python connection, right? Okay, now as we can see, the basics are done. Now if you we have created a table. Now if you want to insert a data to your table, that time what you can do, already as I have written over here. Okay, so we can take this, right? So now we are going to write insert into. Basically we use insert into a query to insert a data to a particular table. Then insert into, then the table name is customers, right? And then we have given the attribute name or the column name we have, that is name and address. From there we have values, right? In the values we are going to give maybe RAM, and the address we are going to give 2/56. Right, so you can see we have written that insert into which table you want to insert. You want to insert the table called customers, and the values will be RAM, and the address will be 2/56 Gotcha Lane, Kolkata 75. If we execute that, can you see it's showing over here this one row is affected. Now if you want to see, hey, I want to see is this data is already inserted to my table or not, how to do that, right? So in that case we are going to use a query called select query. So basically this select query we have used whenever we need to fetch a data, right? Whenever we need to fetch a data, that time we need to use a query called select query. Then we have we need to write select star from where? The customer table, that is customers, right? Select star from customers. So why we use star? Star is nothing but if you want to fetch all the data from your table, you can do that using star, right? So we have written select. So whenever you want to fetch any data, that time we need to use select query. Star is basically nothing but you have to that it will actually give you all the data you have. Then where? From customer table, right? So I have broken down this query to make you understand how this query is going to work, right? So guys, if you really like the video, please do like the video, for that we can understand that you are liking it, and please do let us know in the comment section what you feel about that. And if you want to do the course on MySQL as well, we do have that course in Great Learning Academy. You can go and check that out. There's a basic course we have, and also we have SQL course in YouTube as well. So if you want, you can check that out, right? So if you ask me that for this session you will get the PDF and the code file as well. So in that case you have to go to Great Learning Academy. I will show you how to do that. You have to go to Great Learning Academy, right? Right, you have to go to Great Learning Academy, and here you can go for doing this live session, right? SQL with Python. You have to register over there, and you can claim all the material we have used so far in this session, right? And also we are coming up with the for the college student free live classes. So if you want to join us, you can join us as well, right? So yeah, so this is the one that if you want to get all the material we have used so far, you can go and check them out. And anyway, our moderator is sending the link for the session PDF and the code as well, right? Okay, so now as you can see, we have fetched the data. You can see our table is showing we have RAM and the address is 2/56 Gorcha Lane, Kolkata 75, right? So if you want to add more value to it, yes, you can. The same thing you need to write, insert into customer table and then sham, and maybe you need to just write 7/56. Maybe we are going to change a little bit, right? Okay, so I have inserted two value to my value to my table called customers, and if I want to check, okay, this two value is inserted to my table called customer or not, again we need to write select star from customers. And let me just execute that. Can you see we have called two customer. We have one is Ram, one is Sham, and the address is 2/50 Lane for Kolkata 75 for Ram, and for Sham 7/56 Goriahat Lane, Kolkata 75, right? Okay, so basically Garvit, if you want to add multiple value in a same time, you can do that using Python. I will show you. So these are basic of MySQL I am showing you, just to give you a quick guide of MySQL. So I hope you understand that I hope you understand that how to do this MySQL, how to start with the basic query languages we have in MySQL, right? Okay, so now we will talk about Python, and then we will go to connecting PySQL with Python. So before starting with Python, let me give you an example of no, not an example, let me give you an idea of how many of you have idea about Python. And in this time I am going to take your question, and then we will jump into Python, right? Okay. Shailesh, the how much session is done? This session will be continued till 5. Rahul, for front end and back end, how can you connect with front end and back end? Maybe we will come up with a session, but in this session we cannot talk about that because it will take a long time to, if we need to, I need to show you how to fetch the data from front end, right? What is the path for learning JavaScript? So for JavaScript, we do have a good playlist of JavaScript. Why don't you go and check that out? You will get all the proper path you need to have, right? And also subscribe Great Learning to get updated with the new content we are coming up with. Okay, I can see we know Python. Sailesh, thank you so much. Again guys, if you really like the session, please do like, for that we can understand that you are liking the session, and I am trying to clear all your doubts, as well as trying to give you some good thought, good idea about how can you connect SQL, what is SQL, what is Python. Okay, so some of you have idea about Python. So in that case, what is Python? Give you a quick short idea about what is Python, who is really new to Python. Python is obviously a programming language. It's a popular high-level object-oriented and interpreted language, right? So if we talked about Python is popular and high-level, so basically if we need to connect with the computer, we all know that we need to know the low-level language. But in the case of Python, you can directly start with the high-level language. If you know English, you can start with Python, right? Now, if we talked about why do you learn Python, there are few points I can give you for that. So one is Python for web development is one of the best language to go for. There are lots of frameworks you will get that will make your life easy. The length of the code will be very less. Trust me, when we go for doing a print hello for Java or C++, at least you need to write 3-4 lines of code. But in the case of Python, you just need to write 1 line of code, right? And Python is simple and beginner friendly. You don't need to go for understanding lots of syntaxes, and mathematical computation is easy with Python. right? And graphical user interface is also very nice with Python. So these are the reason why should you learn Python. And why Python is popular, because Python is open source, largest community for learners and collaborators, easy to learn. And the main thing about Python is basically Python supports machine learning, deep learning, all the new data science concepts, or all the technology is right now booming, right? Okay, now if you want to install Python, how can you install Python? Let me just show you again. So if you write install Python, right? So you that time you will get the official website, that python.org. Go there and download Python. Download Python 3.9.0, right? So this is how you can download Python, the easiest way to do that. Okay, and now there are lots of ID. You will get the integrated development environment. So suppose if we talk about Anaconda, because today we are going to do this whole project in Anaconda. So if you want to do this Anaconda, so in that case just write anaconda.com. So here sorry, so here you will get a option called download. Anaconda is open source, right? So if you click over here, it will redirect it over here, right? So here you have option for Windows, Mac OS and Linux. So as I have Windows, you just need to click over here for 64-bit or 34-bit, whatever you have, just click over there and it will automatically start downloading, right? So we use IDE for, just to have a good idea and just to, get a good assistance whenever you are learning a code, right, and doing a code. That time it's basically recommended to go for using IDE, that integrated development environment, right? Now we have the IDE like Anaconda, we have Google Colab. So most of my session I take in Google Colab, but in this session we are going to take it in Anaconda. So Google Colab is one of my favorite IDE. So if you really want to check out the Google Colab, what are the features is offering by Google, so you can just go and check that out, our tutorial on Google Colab, right? Okay, now we will start with the SQL with Python demo, right? So I hope guys you don't have any doubt regarding separately SQL and Python. Give me a quick confirmation on that, and then we will jump to the demo itself, demo part itself, right? So I want a quick confirmation from you guys. So Bhanu, again, if you are working, preparing for business intelligence analyst, you need to have a good idea about Python. And if you have Python, again guys, is a good question Bhanu asked, that if you need to install IDE, before that you have to have Python with you, like install Python with you, right? Otherwise it will be literally problematic, you will get error as well, right? So yes, you need to have so you need to have this Python IDE. Before that you need to install Python, right? So I can see from Digant is saying no doubt, Garvit is saying all clear. How many database can we know for data science? So what you are talking about, Manikant, I did not get you. Are you talking about database management systems, like the softwares, or what? Shagur, this is basically a free session obviously, and this is an individual session today, but we do come up with a new live session on the, for the students. So for that you can keep tuned on Great Learning, and also go and check Great Learning Academy. Gibran, thanks Gibran that you understand. Anaconda is an IDE, Shailesh. Anaconda is an integrated development environment. Yes, Natraj, Python has comes along with SQL. It has some library for SQL as well. Okay, fine. So I can see guys you don't have any doubt till now for SQL and Python separately. Now we are going to check how can you connect SQL with Python. So connect SQL with Python, what you need to do, if you use Anaconda, command prompt, and if you want to, for connecting Python with SQL, you need to have a connector. So how to do that? So connecting that, you need to use pip install MySQL connector Python, right? So you can use it. So basically it's nothing but it's basically Python needs a MySQL driver to access your MySQL database. If you just execute this part, it will automatically download the connector or install the connector. Can you see over here? We already saying that requirement already satisfied, right? And you have this connector. So as I have this connector, so I don't need to install it. But for the first time, if you are starting with, right, if you are starting with, you have to install this connector for connecting SQL with Python. Right now you need to import the connector. How to do that? You need to write import mysql.connector. Yes. Shapnali, okay ma'am, if we know only SQL and Anaconda for Python, is it okay? So for SQL again, Shapnali, okay, we will talk about that in the later in the section. Okay. Garvit, what process is failed to shows to create the process? Which one you are talking about? Right. So I am executing in front of you guys. If you get any error, let me just yeah, you can ask me that as well. Right. Okay. Now if you want to see that I have imported mysql.connector. Now I need to create a function called mysql.connector. So I have created a variable called mydb. So Garvit, first sale is for basically if you want to install the connector on Anaconda command itself, right? It's if you want to install the connector on like you know Jupyter notebook, that time you need to start with the second cell, right? Okay, I think you got your answer, Garvit. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to, you know, if you can see, we are going to call a function of connector library. So here we have called mysql dot connector dot connect, right? After we have called, we need to give host, user and password. I will show you what is this host, user and password stand for. So if you like when you just open your MySQL workbench, that time you will get a interface look like this. So in that case, okay, so in that case, if you look over here, okay, so if you look over here, you can see you will get root. This root is nothing but your user, the in default user for your MySQL, that is root, and this like localhost 3306. So if you come over here, you can see the host is localhost. It's already mentioned over here localhost, right? And here the user is root, right? You can see the user is root with the user sign itself over here, right? This is root. It's a in default if you don't change it, and whenever you are going to install, they will ask you for a password. So for my case, I have given the password. Okay, so for my case, I have given the password 12345678. So whatever the password you are going to give it, you have to give that to connect, in order to connect your database with SQL. In order to connect your database with Python, right? So let me just execute this. Okay, I am getting an error. Okay, right. So why I am getting this error? Let me just write it one. Okay. Okay, no, not the error we have given. Sorry. Okay, so you can see if I have executed this part, you can see this is already connected with my MySQL. Can you see mysql.connector.connection, and this is the object at this. So whenever you have got this part and you don't get any error, yes, so you can see your MySQL is connected with Python. Right, Rohan is asking, I have a question. What question you have, Rohan? For Google Colab, you don't need to install Python, right? This is the best part about Google Colab. So guys, if you have any doubt till now, this connection part, I will just answer your question for a few minutes, and then we will jump to the, you know, as we have connected, then we will do some query using Python, right? SQL query using So I want this session to be more interactive, guys. Please let me know if you have any doubt till now so far. Yeah, so I want to understand that if you guys understand that what is SQL, what is Python, how to connect SQL with Python, what is connector, how to connect with your database, what is host, user and password. This is the most complicated part, you can see, right? This is the main thing where you will get the error, or you will get some, you know, unknown or like error problem, right? Yes, Garvit, you can use this, not Cola, this is basically Conda install. So if you want to go for using Conda install, you need to go to Anaconda command prompt. No, Django is basically for, you know, it's basically for full stack development. You don't need to install Django app over here to do SQL with Python. So Natras, there is no default password, you have to give the password. So whenever you are going to install MySQL, they will ask you for the password. Yes, Rohan, you have to install connector, right? I hope you guys don't have any question till now so far for connecting SQL with Python, right? So we can move forward for the next part, right? Okay. Yes, Bhanu, you can do that. It's dynamic, right? You can use it in any system. Achha, you are asking about Google Colab. So Garvit, so Google Colab may you maybe get some error, or you have to use some particular, you know, code for Google Colab. So basically here, as we need to use your own MySQL workbench from your system, that time maybe there is a problem in Google Colab. So for that, maybe Google Colab has its own code, you need to check that out. For Google Colab, the main problem is you are not going to do these things in your local system, as we have to connect SQL from your local system. That time maybe you have to use some other code for Google Colab specifically, right? Rohan ma'am, how to connect? I have shown how to connect. You have to install MySQL connector, then you have to import that, and then you have to call mysql.connector.connect. How to check SQL in installed or not on Python? So it's like you will get this, if it's not going to install, you will get an error over here itself, that pip install MySQL connector. Okay, right. So I have shown you how to connect with MySQL with Python. Now I am going to call the database. So why I was getting the error? Because I did not create any database called demo live 1. Let me go back to here, and the same way we have created, right? The same way we have created, we are going to do the same thing. Okay, so I am going to add a new file, right? Create database and then demo live 1, right? Let me create this database. So whenever you are going to give the database name, you have to make sure that database is already there in your MySQL workbench, otherwise you will get an error again, right? Sorry, my database will not be there, we'll use only. Can you see I have said, okay, create a database called demo live 1, from there use demo live 1, right? Right, now if you come back over here, again we have imported the MySQL connector. We have written mysql.connector.connect. From there we have written the host called localhost, username is root, password for my case 12345678, database called database, the database we are going to give, that the database name is demo live 1. Let me just execute this. Can you see it's got executed? So your connection for database called demo live 1 is okay. Now in demo live 1, right, in demo live 1 database, I want to create a table the same way we have create a table called customer. In demo live 1 we want to create that. So in that case you have to write my cursor is equals to mydb dot cursor. So if you ask me what is this cursor, so cursor is nothing but it's like a pointer, right? It will understand, or it will like basically help your Python to work one by one line, right? So here we have written my cursor dot execute, right? And then you have use the query we have used to create a table called customer. So you can see we have done this. So now if you want to see if your table is created or not, in that case what you need to write, you can check this over, yeah, so you can check this over Python as well. How to do that? In that case you need to write the same thing, my cursor dot execute, right, show tables, right? Let's see if we can see over here, otherwise we will go and check this out on, okay, right, it's okay, you can see it's already we have done over here. That is the same thing. So how to check how many tables you have in your database? So as I have created a table called customer, I want to check right now that it's okay, is it gonna be there or not, right? So how to do that? So we are going to do the same thing, that my cursor dot execute show table, but here we need to use right, but here we need to use a for loop. This for loop is nothing but okay, right, so this for loop is nothing but if you have more than one table in your database, that time it's gonna show you on that, right? Guys, I will answer your questions again, but I'm just trying to finish all the things we have left. So you can see this is the same thing, the database, this part is I have already explained here. And this show tables, why we use show table? Just to show how many tables you have in your particular database, right? So then I have written print my cursor, then I have written for x in my cursor print x. So if you have 3-4 table at a time, it will show like this, right? So for my case I have only one table, that is customers, right? So this is how you can actually connect your database with table, connect your database with Python, right? So how many of you guys understand this part? Then we will look at the alter table, and then we will see some of you more SQL queries, and then we will wrap up today's session, right? Yes, you can change, Rahul. Whatever you can do in SQL, you can do same thing using SQL with Python, right? So guys, again, if you really like the session, please do like the session, and also subscribe Great Learning for the new content we are coming up with, right? And if you really want to do some good courses, so please go to Great Learning Academy. You can go and skill up yourself free of cost, and you can claim your certificate as well, right? So here you can see I am going to alter the table column. So I am going to add one column to my table. What to do? First understand the query, and then I will show you the for the Python. Again the same thing, you need to use my cursor dot execute, right? Okay, so in that case what we need to do, when we are going to alter table? So why do we need to alter table? We use, if you want to change something to your table, right? So in that case alter table, then which table you want to alter? For my case I want to alter customer table. So alter table customer, then add column. So I want to add a new column that is called id int, right? That will be type of int, and auto increment primary key. So if we talk about auto increment is nothing but it will increment automatically whenever you are going to put any record on that, right? And the primary key is basically nothing but we use to reduce the redundancy of the data. This is one of the concept for relational database management system, okay? Right, so in that case if we execute that, let me just execute that. Okay, so if you want to check if there is any column added to your table or not, how to do that? If let me just go back to my SQL. and I am going to write select star from customers. So we know we have created a table called customer in the demo live one. Can you see? We got it. Yes, this is first the name and address was there. Now ID is also included, as we have as we have used the altered table, and as we have added a column called ID that is auto incremented, right? Okay, now what we need to do now, if you want to insert, the way we are inserting the value to your table, how to do that? So in that case you need to use the same command. Okay, I can see guys you are saying that it's clear. That's really nice. You are understanding whatever we are trying to teach you. Thanks for your support, guys. Rohan, maybe whenever we are going to complete the session, you can again, the session will be there itself in the YouTube channel. You can check them out, right? Okay, so now if you want to insert the table like value to your customer table, how to do that? You need to use the same query, insert into customer, then name, address. For the values you can put percentage is nothing but you want to give some value over here, right? Garvit, auto increment is nothing but if you want to if you put 2 3 4 5 records, it will auto incremented the ID will be 1 2 3 4 5 6. You don't need to write ID particularly, right? So in that case you can use auto increment. Okay, so you can see we have done this and it's already showing one record is inserted. So some of you are asking that if I want to insert multiple record at a time, how to do that? So in that case you can see we have done the multiple records, right? We have done the multiple records, and here if you see I was using mysql.execute, right? .execute, we are using mysql.execute. So when you have data more than one, that time we need to use execute many function, right? You have to remind that whenever you have only one query to execute, you can use .execute. When you have multiple query to execute, that time you need to write execute many. So if I just execute this, can you see it's showing 13 record was inserted. Now if you want to cross check it, let me just execute this part, that select start from customers. Can you see this is already inserted over here in MySQL? I hope it's right, Vishal, right? You are totally right. So this is how this MySQL with Python works, right? So if you want to insert a table, you can do that. If you if you want to create a table, you can do that. If you want to insert data to your table, you can do that using Python, right? So these are the basic part we have done about, like SQL, the query we have done in SQL using Python. So give me a quick confirmation, guys. How many of you actually understand the whole concepts about Python, SQL and connecting portion plus the basics of SQL? Give me a quick confirmation, guys, as we have already came to the end of the session and we will do some more, and then we will wrap up today's session, right? And if you also have any doubt, please quickly post it, then we can I can clear your doubt. So Vishal, yes, you need to do the, most probably you have to connect, like install the connector again. How to read data into Python? Yes, I am going to show you how to read the data in Python. Right, Rohan. Okay, Sanjay, not in this session, but maybe we will come up with that. Rohan, we do not roll out any certificate for the live session. Thanks, Sanjay. Yeah. So again, if someone was asking if we want to fetch the data from the table itself, how to do that? Right, so how to do that? You need to write select star from customers, right? You have to write select star from customer, the same query we have write in the SQL, and the same thing that .execute. But here in my result, what we are going to do? We are going to say my cursor .fetch all. So why we are using .fetch all? Because obviously you will have Okay, so obviously you will have lots of data, not only one rows of data. That time again you have to use for loop for that. Let me just execute that. Can you see whatever the result you got, whatever the data you have in your database, you can get them using this dot my cursor dot fetch one, and after using a for loop, right? Okay, right. So you can see John Highway 21 is already there. So yeah, this is how, like, almost we came to the end, and this is all about with this how can you use Python and how can you connect SQL and Python. As you know that SQL and Python both are used. Maybe SQL is used for the database management system and Python is for programming language. So I hope it will help you to make your new project on that. Please do let us know what project you are thinking of using this concepts. We will love to hear from you. And again, please go to Great Learning Academy. There we are going to come up with a new live session series as well. You can check them out, and if you want to get all the material for this particular session, please register for the course and you will get all of them, right? Thank you guys, thank you so much. Bye bye, and thanks for the support. And please do let us know in the comment what you feel about this session. Thank you guys.